What's going on is Anton from AntonDaniels.com. I appreciate you guys for continuing to rock with me, but I just got home off of an early morning flight, right? First thing through the door, I want to see my family. I love my family. You know, I'm a family man. I'm an advocate for families, right? Second thing, I got to get that hot shower because I got to throw the threads on. The threads make me feel like $1,000,000, but the third thing through my mind and all throughout the trip is that I gotta have that Tej pack. Tej makes my life uncomplicated. It's uncomplicated skincare for men. The first way that I started specifically was their level 1 system. It's a daily face wash to get rid of the dirt and grime on your skin. 2 times per week exfoliating scrub to get rid of the dead skin cells. An AM moisturizer with SPF 20 because you should always be protecting your skin from the sun. And a PM moisturizer to help your skin stay hydrated and healthy throughout the night. Here's the thing. My favorite part about Tej Henley is that every box comes with an instruction card that tells you when to use each product, how much to use, and in what order. They really making the process of achieving and maintaining amazing skin for men uncomplicated. In addition to amazing skin, members of Tej Henley get tons of benefits, including at least 20% off the retail price, the ability to customize your box, exclusive monthly deals, you can pause and cancel at any time, and you get free shipping. And because Tej Henley is sponsoring today's video, they're offering my viewers an amazing deal, right? Just click the first link in the description and you get 30% off your first box, plus a free gift. It's an amazing deal. You got to get started today. You're not out here trying to look like a Dusty. And if you travel as much as I do, which I'm sure most people don't, but you know me, I'm pushing my bag chasers in order to be in the top 5%, top 10%, top 1%. We got to make our lives uncomplicated, and Tej Henley is no better product. You got to look good. You got to smell good. And you can't be looking like a Dusty. Make sure you get started today. Click the link in the description. Get that Tej pack. Feel the Tej, my friends. What's going on is Anton from AntonDaniels.com. I appreciate you guys for continuing to rock with me. Got a little bit of a condensed show for y'all today. And the reason why it's a condensed show is because we're not going to do quick hits today. We're just going to get straight into the thick of things, which allows for me to take my time and deep dive a little bit further. One of the blessings that come along with doing this show, it's a makeup show for those of you that's not familiar. So earlier in the week, had some things going on. Some of you are now a little bit more familiar with it as far as news that we received in that Rita got to have a surgery this upcoming week. So we appreciate y'all prayers for that. We already know that God got it. So we don't live it twice. We're not going to live it before it happened. We just going to pray that the surgery goes well. She's in good spirits. Everything is good on that end. So I'm not going to spend a lot of time with that. And then we had some other things that happened with not distant relatives, but other relatives within the family. So, you know, combine that life circumstances with the fact that we still don't miss and that I live my life like an open book. You guys got to see a little bit of my passionate side when it comes to my personal life, and that spilled over, I think, into the Millionaire Morning Show, which then caused me to say, you know what, I'm gonna just end the show early today, so on and so forth. But that doesn't excuse the behavior, and we already talked about it, but more importantly, we don't miss. So that's why you see me here on a Saturday, and it could not have come on a better Saturday considering what you see in my background. So what you guys see in my background, and here, let me show you. What you guys see in my background is snow everywhere. Super snow everywhere, right? And it's cold, it's snowy, and it's not ideal conditions. So number one, I want to say I thank God for being in the position that I'm in and that I don't have to be homeless, that I don't have to suffer. I do pray for, and I've done a lot of volunteer work in my lifetime as far as people that may be a little less fortunate. I don't know why they continue to bring these migrants over, considering that they know it's going to be bad outside, and eventually we was due for a very bad snow. But it couldn't have come at a better weekend because we ain't got nothing better to do anyway, except for continue to work and get our groove on. So let's get a little bit of the housekeeping out of the way first and foremost. I want to say I appreciate y'all. I see y'all in the chat. Chris J, J Max, Trap and Slay. What's up? Kojak, your car, wealth building journey. Yeah, I got some nice views. And then the place that I'm gonna be, our second place, It's got some nice view, even better views downtown. So that's gonna be up. And Jay got it the hard way. What up? What up? What up to everybody in the chat? I appreciate y'all. And we got Stock Club tomorrow, so I'm gonna be dropping that in the Patreon later on today for y'all to be able to tap in. And we're gonna be doing a live stream and Patreon exclusive just tomorrow. So if you're not a part of the Patreon, link is in the description as well as pinned to the top of the chat. Global Chef, I'm coming. I promise you, I'm coming to Hawaii. Absolutely. And for those of y'all that may be just seeing this for the first time, this is an interactive show. Again, it is unplanned in that it's not normal for me to do a live stream on a Saturday, but why not? We can hang loose, kick it a little bit, and then have some conversations. One more thing before we get into the show. Again, we're not going to do quick hits. One more thing before we get into the show. I will be live streaming on After Hours tonight. I was supposed to live stream on After Hours last night, but my power had went out. So, I had to put a community post on the After Hours channel and then say, hopefully the power will be back on this morning, which it is, thank God. And so I do plan on doing a live stream tonight on After Hours, and then we got Stock Club tomorrow, and we just going to keep it moving, all right? So everything is getting back in the groove. We know that life circumstances happen, power go out and all of that. But either way, we still don't miss. And even if we are disrupted, it doesn't mean that we shouldn't be making that up. You know what I'm saying? So we're going to get to it. Thank you to everybody that continue to hold me down. Thank you, Latrell, for the super chat. I appreciate you. And thank you to everybody that's here today. I know a lot of y'all probably, especially that's in this cold weather. Some of y'all are in warmer weather. Some of y'all in the cooler weather. I just appreciate y'all for rocking with me at all. So thank you, thank you, thank you. Are much appreciated. Again, shout out to Tej Hanley. Shout out to Latrell. I appreciate you, Latrell. Tej Hanley, 30% off your first order plus a free gift. I appreciate you, Tej, for continuing to hold us down. And again, if you guys are not a part of the Patreon, then make sure you tap into the Patreon. The link is in the description as well as pinned to the top of the chat. We do some great, awesome things in there, and we're going to continue to run it up. All right, so y'all ready to get started with the show? Again, it might be a little bit more condensed because we're not going to do after hours, and we're just going to get straight to it. I'm happy to see you too, Cynthia. Thank you. You joining the Patreon after work. Shout out to the bag chasers. Can we get a round of... We got a lot of new bag chasers. I seen somebody sent me a clip yesterday of what somebody was saying about me. I don't know why y'all can keep sending me clips, but I do find it entertaining now. And they said, yeah, and he only got in his little 500 bag chasers. First of all, 500 is a huge number of people that rock with you. If you can get 500 people in a room that say, yo, I rock with you, then that's dope. But I think that we're a little bit more closer to 5,000. Not 500. Let me see. Let me check the numbers. Not 500. More like 5,000, ma'am. No, we're not at quite 5. We're not quite at 5,000 right now. We're at 4815. Yep. Membership summary 4815. And for those of you that want to see that number, I have no problem with showing that. That is not a problem. Membership summary 4815. Let me go ahead and show that to you guys really quickly. But I want to get that to 5,000 by the end of the month. So I'm thinking that we'll probably break that by the end of the week. There you go. So we have 4875 actually. 4875 members on the Patreon. You can see it up there in the upper left hand corner. That's patreon.com/insights/membership. And so that's what we got up. So we got a lot of chasers. We got a lot of people that love what we do. A lot of people that rock with us. When I say that we have a whole community of people, that we got an army, I mean it. I don't cap. Ain't no cap in my rap. Ain't no cap in my rap. We have an army. An army. Yes, AL, we doing a makeup show for the day because of what happened on Tuesday. So we got an army. At the very least, if y'all gonna talk, make sure you get my numbers right. I got the receipts to back it up. All right. So shout out to all of the chasers. Shout out to all of the people that rock out with me. I appreciate y'all. I rock with y'all. Let's go ahead and get into the show. Shout out to Trap and Slay. Trap and Slay be holding me down. That's my boo. Trap and Slay might be one of my new favorite people Travis Slay says, woke up at 3 a.m. this morning and became a hold on, can we get a round of applause for Travis Slay? Shout out to Travis Slay. Shout out to Chat Lives Matter. My dog, your car. I appreciate you, Travis Slay. Shout out to all of the people that rock with us. I'm going to try to get an interview with Vivek Joe Gunn. I think that that's a great idea. I'm going to work really, really hard on that. All right. Y'all ready to get started with the show? Let's get into it. You know, we first got to get into the news. And a big part of the news is what's going on with the migrant crisis. Now, I want to take y'all over to Chicago really quickly, and then I want to take y'all over into Texas because I want to show y'all what's happening on a federal level. So, again, make sure y'all hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications. Let's get into it, y'all.
Taking a live look outside over the city this afternoon, we are getting a small break after hours of cold rain fell on the city. We should be seeing more snow within the next few hours. Then comes the bitter cold.
I hear you, Trap.
Albert will time it out for us in just a few minutes.
That cold has the city of Chicago suspending a 60-day deadline for migrants staying in shelters.
CBS 2's Suzanne Leminio joins us live from the migrant landing zone in the South Loop with a look at how the city plans to keep asylum seekers safe in this bitter cold. Suzanne?
I'm going to show you right now. Take a look behind me. Now, what I have here are 8 CTA and 2 school buses. They're behind me right now. All 10 buses are in place to keep the new arrivals warm. The buses are parked around the landing zone for migrants to enter after their arrival. Once migrants are in a shelter, they have a deadline for when they must leave. Now, because of the cold weather, they will now have a grace period.
New arrivals who have received a 60-day notice will not be required to leave shelter for the next week. Individuals who were set to exit between January 16th and 21st will be able to remain in shelter until at least January 22nd.
Where are they supposed to go when they leave shelter is what I'm asking. Yeah, the meetups are crazy. If y'all never been to a meetup, y'all need to come to a meetup. Where are these migrants where are they supposed to go once they leave shelter? Because y'all don't have enough space. They building out tent cities. They renovated the CVS over there in Chicago. Shout out to Love C. Where are these people supposed to go once they leave? And I can't wait till I get to the Keith Lee segment of the show because Keith Lee gave a little bit of insight that I think people missed when he went and toured over on the Bay Area. But I'm going to get there. We're going to get there today. This is the most chaotic. I'm trying to be careful with my words because there's some words that I want to use that I can't use, that I choose not to use on the Millionaire Morning Show. This is the most chaotic, idiotic, base-headed. This is what we used to call the no plan plan. The no plan plan is the way that we used to describe people that live their lives a certain way, but then you had to coach them through it, right? So somebody would call me and they would get a coaching call. And they weren't intentional, and they'll say, "Yeah, man, you know, I'm just out here living a dream or whatever." And I say, "Oh, okay, so why are you here? You know, what are you trying to do? Why are you getting this coaching call? You know, I just want to do better in life." "Oh, okay, cool. That's great. I'm glad that you came here. You're at the right place. So describe your situation." And then they'll start to break down their situation. And basically, they smoke weed all day. They hang out in their mother's basement. They have no education, dropped out of school, dropped out of high school, and they never went and got their GED, don't have no job, but somehow they scraped up a little bit of money in order to be able to talk to me to get a coaching call. And I'm like, fam, you're not only going backwards, but you're on a no plan plan. Basically meaning that they figuring it out as they go. All aspects of our life, we supposed to have some sort of guide. Even if we just on a treadmill, even if we running in a rat's race, we doing this rat race that we got going on. We're supposed to be on some sort of path, or at least we imagine that we on one in our lives. Everybody, listen, even if you a basehead, a lot of baseheads still play the lottery because at least they have some pathway in their mind of what success look like. Maybe I got a 1 in a billion chance of hitting the lottery, and then my life is going to change from there. Right? Chicago, New York, Denver, the United States of America, they are on a no plan, or at least this plan, whatever this plan is, you and I are not privy to it. Government is supposed to be transparent. They're supposed to be giving us insight. They're supposed to be a representation of the people. But this is the most secretive organization that I've ever heard in my entire life. We have the Freedom of Information Act. They're supposed to be elected by us to represent us. But everybody is just disillusioned. They got more secrets than we have in our own home, in the privacy of our own home. We're more forthcoming with our lives, especially now that you got social media, than they are as far as what the plan. Because you can't tell me that they just out here just winging it. There's no way you're going to convince me that they out here just winging it. You telling me all of these cities and states with billions and then on a federal level, trillions of dollars to manage and budgets, and they allocate so much money over to the military, and we over here planning against China and Taiwan, and we got all of this stuff going on, and you telling me we just forgot about the border. Nobody can figure out what the hell is happening with the border. I just played a video for y'all on Quick Hits the other day where Biden in 07 and 08, when they was campaigning in order for him and Obama to become president of the United States of America and vice president of the United States of America, basically echoed the same sentiments as Trump. Biden himself said, listen, no country can be civilized. No country can truly be protected. No country can actually call themselves a first world country without, at the very least, on a very basic minimum scale, protecting your borders, controlling what comes in and what comes out of your country, being aware of what it is. And so if he can say that, yet we have the smartest people in the world that's surrounding, even if Biden is completely incapacitated and he's a Manchurian candidate. Let's assume that Biden is the Manchurian candidate because he don't know his right from his left. Every other month he trip up the stairs in order to get on the Air Force One. And Kamala Harris is the vice president, and she's been deemed the border czar, which is one of the reasons why you see her at the bottom of the screen. Let's assume that Biden is the Manchurian candidate and Kamala Harris slept her way to the top, and that's one of the reasons why she joined the AKA sorority. If that be the case, if that be true, okay, you cannot tell me that you don't have the smartest people all around you in some of the most secretive agencies ever existing that do not have a well-written, well-thought-out plan as to why. Because we still have different layers of government. You still have the president, you still got Congress, you got the state house, you got every single legislative branch, then you got to go all the way down to the state level, and then you go down to the local level. And you telling me nobody, everybody just forgot that the border was open. Everybody just winging it and they just trying to figure it out. And this is not intentional. Everybody is asleep at the wheel, except for the people like us on YouTube trying to break this down and then trying to understand it and figure it. So I vote, my tax dollars funded, but then I'm in the dark as to what it is that I'm paying for. That's like paying for a prostitute and don't know whether you're getting a man or a woman coming in the room. No. That's not what we doing here. That's why I keep telling y'all to stay from being passport bros over in the DR. It ain't that I don't think that y'all should have options. It's that I don't know if y'all really know if y'all getting a lady boy or not. I don't know. You never know. You rolling the dice. That's why I tell y'all to have discipline. Because you don't know if she giving you that 2-for-1 package like they're handing out over in Houston. They're giving you chlamydia and herpes at the same time. You don't know because you can't just look at her and she got it on her head. You can't see her my chart. That's exactly what we doing when it comes to this migrant crisis. We have no clue I didn't know I was going to be cooking up like a Saturday like this. Yo, y'all better tell the Lord to make it cold outside more often because I feel like I'm in the studio right now. You telling me we're paying for something that we have no clue what we getting and everything is a mystery box. Okay.
We will continue to reevaluate this situation and prioritize safety.
Meantime, Governor J.B. Pritzker sent a letter to the governor of Texas urging him to stop sending migrants to Chicago during the winter storm with sub-zero temperatures, saying in part, Chicago's temperatures this weekend are forecast to drop below zero. Your callousness sending buses and planes full of migrants in this weather is now life-threatening to every one of the arrivals. Hundreds of children's and families' health and survival are at risk due to your actions. Now,
shout out to Governor Greg Abbott. I think he the GOAT. If anybody in our federal government deserves an award, I would have to say it is Greg Abbott over there in Texas. I think that whether you vote blue or whether you vote red, whether you vote Republican or you can vote Democrat, I don't think that any of us are in disagreement that we all need to control our borders. Is that safe to say? Regardless of whether you agree with my politics or not, regardless of whether or not I think I agree with your politics or not, we can agree to disagree on that. But I think that there are some things that we can come to, in the middle on. And I don't think anybody, whether you vote red or you vote in blue, believes that we don't deserve to have control at our borders on a federal level, not just on a state level, but on a federal level.
Texas is blocking federal agents from processing migrants in a
What up, Carrie? What up, my baby? What's happening? Thank you.
public area of Eagle Pass, just a mile away from the U.S.-Mexico border.
We doing a makeup show today, Carrie.
The move is the latest escalation between the state and federal government over the nation's immigration policy. Texas's Republican Governor Greg Abbott deployed National Guard troops to the park. They are now preventing U.S. Border Patrol agents from entering and patrolling the area. The federal government previously used the space to hold migrants in a staging area before further processing. CBS News immigration and political reporter Camilo Montoya Galvez joins us now. Camilo, how is the state of Texas able to do this?
This is so funny that you say this, Trap and Slay. This is why we greater than everybody else. Y'all, I don't think that y'all realize how much further ahead we are, even in situational awareness of what's going on at our, on a national level, on an international level, monetarily. I'll get into that in a minute. But she said, I asked my Facebook, did they know about the migrant crisis? And nobody answered because everybody was too worried about Cat Williams. I'm going to get into that in a minute. You absolutely right.
Hi, Elaine. This really is an extraordinary standoff between Texas and the Biden administration. Texas National Guard members, as we speak, have been deployed by Governor Greg Abbott to take control of this public park in Eagle Pass, Texas, where Border Patrol had been holding migrants in a staging area, as you underscored. And right now, Texas National Guard soldiers and vehicles are actively denying Border Patrol agents as well as federal National Guard members access to roughly 2.5 miles of the U.S.-Mexico border, according.
Let me give a round of applause for Greg Abbott. Greg Abbott is the only person that got a set of balls on a legislative level in this country outside of Trump that actually gonna do something and said, you know what, I'm not waiting on nobody to give me nothing. We gonna go ahead and kick the feds out. Listen, on a local level, y'all know where y'all can suck it. You know where you can put it. You know what you can kiss. They went into control and they said, listen, we not letting y'all let nobody else over in here because y'all just out here being wild. Y'all out here being wild. Shout out to Greg Abbott. I believe that he is not just the best governor in the country, but quite possibly the best politician in the entire United States of America. Only person, man, listen, bro. Only person that's in office right now that got a set of balls. Went over there and told the feds, nah, fam, we not doing that today.
To federal officials who spoke with CBS News, this means that Border Patrol agents cannot access this area, Elaine, to process migrants, including those who may be in distress, who are experiencing a medical emergency, for example.
We don't care.
They cannot patrol that area or conduct surveillance as well. These are, after all, Elaine, federal responsibilities. And in terms of the legality of these actions, that is still very much an open question. Governor Abbott.
He said, we're going to ask for forgiveness instead of asking for permission. We're not asking for permission no more. We're going to go ahead and deal with the consequences after it. But in the meantime, we're going to go ahead and secure our own borders. Shout out to Governor Greg Abbott.
Has previously said that he has the authority to take sweeping actions to deter illegal crossings. But this is certainly, Elaine, his most drastic move yet to challenge the Biden administration's authority on immigration.
Well, how is the White House responding to this, Camilo?
Well, the White House actually issued a statement just recently, Elaine. I want to read that to our viewers and our audiences. The White House is accusing Governor Abbott of trying to interfere with immigration and border enforcement, saying that the governor is continuing his extreme political stunts that not only seek to demonize and dehumanize people, but that also make it harder and more dangerous for Border Patrol to do their job. So
think about this for a minute. We have a president, a vice president, and federal authority that's trying to prevent Greg Abbott from securing the borders of Texas. They have zero, zilch, nada. I mean, they are vetting and making sure that people are not asking questions, even when they make their little tour stops. Nobody can ask a question whatsoever, but then they have everything to say when he then say, listen, we not letting nobody else in this country without some kind of understanding of what the heck you got going on. And they're trying to block him from not to allow people in this country undocumented. If y'all trust this administration, if y'all trust these people, if you guys think that they're working in your best interest, I feel so much pity for you. I feel so much pity for you.
This is clearly the latest escalation in this feud between President Biden and Governor Abbott. The Biden administration, the Justice Department specifically, Elaine, has also alerted the Supreme Court of these actions by Texas in Eagle Pass. So we should expect a prolonged legal battle on this matter as well.
That was going to be my question.
What up, Scony?
I mean, what does this signify about this fight over who is responsible for the nation's immigration policy?
Well, Elaine, I think this really illustrates that governors like Greg Abbott are not shy about testing the limits of their authority on immigration and border issues. They have significant disagreements with how the Biden administration has handled the record levels of migration along the U.S.-Mexico border over the past 3 years. Governor Abbott, in just 3 years, has bused tens of thousands of migrants to Democratic-led cities, including over there in New York City. Elaine, he has charged migrants on trespassing charges and fortified the riverbanks of the Rio Grande with razor wire and floating barriers. And most recently, he signed a law, Governor Abbott did, Elaine, that would allow the state to prosecute, jail, and arrest migrants on state criminal charges of crossing into Texas illegally. Those actions are already illegal at the federal level, and that.
Listen, for all of y'all, and I'm about to read the super chat shortly, I appreciate y'all. For all of y'all that truly don't, and y'all not going to appreciate Greg Abbott until y'all get y'all a Jennifer Granholm. Those that know. Those of y'all that's from Michigan, you know. And Jennifer Granholm just so happens to be a part, in my opinion, one of the worst governors in the history of Michigan. Presided over Michigan during the bankruptcy of Detroit, Flint crisis, so on and so forth, right? And Jennifer Granholm just so happened to be a part of the Biden administration's cabinet. Y'all not going to appreciate Governor Greg Abbott over there in Texas until he's no longer the governor and y'all get yourself a Granholm. Until y'all get yourself a Granholm. I'm telling you, y'all better appreciate him now. We appreciate him because we know what we went through, but y'all better appreciate him now. None dare call it conspiracy. You know, you see it. Y'all better appreciate him now because I'm telling you, you're not until you get yourself a Granholm. Let me address some of these super chats really quickly. I want to say something before we go on with the show because we do have a full show for you guys today. Trap and Slay says something, and I want to highlight that, and I want to piggyback off of that really quickly. She said, and this actually feeds into the next part of my show that I want to go into, the next subject that I want to tackle. Where is it at, Trap and Slay? Let me make sure that I get that. Okay, here, this is what she said. She says, I asked my Facebook, did they know about the migrant crisis, and nobody answered me, too worried about Cat Williams. A couple of different points on this, okay? First of all, it's in the best interest of the people, especially politicians and the powers that be, to keep y'all unfocused on the things that don't matter. I'll tell you this. I have multiple I'm going to be absolutely honest and transparent with you guys. Shout out to Trap and Slay. Let me highlight that comment. I'm going to be absolutely transparent and honest with you guys. I have a lot of channels, even channels that you guys don't know about, that I own and that I run. Patreon members know that you don't know that I own, that I'm not a part of, but that I own and I run. I even own some faceless channels, right? And what I know is this. Amongst my most unpopular channels, did you know that the Millionaire Morning Show is my most unpopular channel? Meaning that the show that is the most informative, not the one that talk about relationships, not the one that talk about popular culture, not the one that does all of the interviews or any of that type of stuff. The ones that I participate on and that I don't participate on, because I see all of the stats. As great as this channel is, as much of a community as we are, right? It's popular that it is, because we'll regular get 16, 17, 2,000, sometimes 3,000 people as a part of the live stream. We do millions and millions and literally tens of millions of views a year on this channel. We do really, 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 really well. And I'm thankful and I'm grateful. But the numbers tell me that it's much more profitable if I was to repurpose this channel and make it something completely different, and talk about something that's distractive, like Cat Williams on this channel. I could make this channel much more profitable and much more popular. And one of the reasons that is because people are attracted to the things that's not best for them, and it's so easy to keep you distracted. I want to give you guys some props, and I want to help you guys to understand that even if you're not paying attention to it, because it's just a part of our daily lives to be productive, to learn about money, resources, talk about politics, understand where it comes back to the money. Even in the things that's a little bit more entertaining, we always get a lesson from it. We laugh, we joke, we live stream every single morning, meaning it's the time that we're the most productive at the beginning of our day, which is the reason why I made this channel a morning channel, because I wanted to inspire you and keep you up to date also, and also motivate you throughout your day in the beginning of the day, so that it carries you throughout your day. You guys don't know how much further along you are than the rest of the world and the rest of your friends and the people that you surround yourself with. The things that they are attracted to and the things that they do on a regular basis, it has nothing on what it is that you guys have already learned over the past year. If you've been with me for any extended period of time, at least 30 to 60 to 90 days, 6 months, a year, 2 years, some of you guys have been with me since the beginning. You have no idea where you've come from. You have no idea how much more informed you are, how wise you are, how much more knowledgeable you are. You can span, just with the information that we all share, and this is why I like saying chat lives matter. You can span literally any subject and destroy just based off of the information that we share back and forth, because you guys send me a lot of these articles that I go on and review and I talk about, right? You email me, you participate. We all talk about it. Chat Lives Matters. We all start to cross boundaries and we have good conversations. We disagree, we laugh, we kill each other. Some people don't like each other. Some people like each other. We grow to love each other. We meet with each other every day. And then we come together and we have these conversations on a regular basis. You're leaps and bounds ahead of everybody that you think is even your peer. You only still around them because of familiarity. You're not around them because they are your equal anymore. You have graduated. And I want you to understand that sometimes you have to take inventory of who you are, and where you're going, because you may be outgrowing your circle. You're definitely outgrowing your circumstances, and you certainly outgrowing the people that you're surrounding yourself long term. But if they're not coming along with you, some of you people, I'm going to be honest with you, and I hate to say it, but I'm going to say it. Some of y'all are outgrowing your spouses. Some of y'all are outgrowing the person that you lay next to every day. And when you first discovered me, you guys were on an equal playing field, and you might not have even liked me when you first found me. But now you've grown to love me because you realize that it's not about me, it's more about what it is that we represent. It's freedom of thought, growth, insight, understanding, and even a growing appreciation for spirituality. We're all different. We come from different spaces. Some of us have different beliefs, but we all find some form of familiarity with each other. Familiarity, root word family. And then we all continue to grow, and we all promoting each other to get better, even if we may have disagreements, or we have a different disposition on whatever subject that we're talking about. And if you look at where you were when you first discovered me, and what your thoughts are, you and the person that was around you, even your sisters, your brothers, your mothers, they don't want to hear me sometimes. Why you watch? How many of y'all in the chat have been around somebody in your family or close to you, and they say, I don't know why you watch him, or I don't know why you like him, or he get on my nerves and stuff like that. And you now are becoming a little bit more quiet. You may be becoming a little bit more reserved. You might even be watching me a little bit more secretly, but you know that you're going to continue to get this game and you're going to get these gems. And while they over there feeling some type of way, they're going to still be in the same space mentally that they were when you first started watching me. It's a lot of people. It's a lot of people that's around you that you have outgrown and you don't even want to be honest and admit it. And it's okay. I get it. You don't want to be the black sheep. You don't want to be uncomfortable. You don't want to be the one that say the thing that you know is right at the family dinner that's going to make everybody upset. You don't want to start giving that game. And so sometimes you even fight it within yourself because you don't want to be the outcast and it's uncomfortable, right? But I'm going to tell you, they see it on you. Before I get to this next subject, and it's going to go right into this next subject, they see it on you. They see it all over you. They see the changes. They see the differences. They see that you want to be more fiscally responsible. They see that you actually care about keeping your family together. They see you starting to get more involved in what's going on in society and politics. They just, listen, they don't want to change because change for them, it's going to force you to be uncomfortable. And I've always believed in getting comfortable with being uncomfortable. They don't want to change, and so they're not going to adopt this philosophy. But just remember this, as you continue to navigate through your journey in life, and as you continue to outgrow everybody that's around you, you still gonna have family in us. We still gonna love you. We still gonna rock with you. Think about it. We're the only YouTube channel, the only one that we can talk about politics, go into relationships, start going down and breaking down how we supposed to do our budget, get motivated, and then we can see somebody inside of the chat say, hey, something is going on in our family, and we all break out. Even though I'm just the one that's on the screen, we all break out at the same time and start praying for them. This is the only place that you can go to on the internet that you found. Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Twitch, Rumble, no matter what. It's the only place you can go to on the internet where chat lives matters. I love you guys just like I love myself. I know y'all individual names. Y'all speak to each other before I even start the live stream. I see y'all talking inside of the chat saying, hey, such and such, how was your day? Hey, how was your grandma? Did everything go okay? And then somebody will say something, or somebody will say, hey, I got a job interview, and we all just break out in prayer and say, you know, even people that don't even believe in Jesus Christ himself or has never been saved, sanctified, and filled with the Holy Ghost, touch and agree when we come together and we pray for somebody that needs something or need a prayer, because it says where 2 or 3 are gathered in his name, there he is in the midst of thee. It's the only place on the internet that you can find it. And I'm almost reserved, but I know that we can't keep this contained within ourselves because we have a bigger purpose and we have other things that we have to conquer and things that we have to be successful at. And we have other people that we need to bring into the fold. And that's why we share with other people, even though we know they're going to reject it. Hopefully they hold on to a little piece of it and still get curious about it and stick with it long enough to make it work for them. But this is the only place, and I'm almost, and again, it's very difficult a lot of times because you just want to kind of keep this a little secret, right? And you want to kind of keep it within ourselves and say, oh, you know what? We don't need nobody else. All we need is us. But we got other people that we got to save. And it's not for the masses, but it's to go out to the masses, understanding that it may be that one person over here or this little sheep over there. The same way that you got curious and it popped up on your timeline, or somebody recommended it to you, or you found me through somebody else, or something that somebody said, or you got curious through an interview and then you came over to the Millionaire Morning Show. It's the same way that somebody else deserves the opportunity to grow just as well as you do. And we don't want to keep it contained within ourselves because there's somebody out there, one person at a time, that we got to save. We got to save souls. We got to save budgets. We got to save mindsets. We got to save voting patterns. And even if it's just us, we going to find every single little one of y'all that need to get got and plucked up from amongst these people and amongst this rubble so that we can continue to drive them forward because they want to do something greater too. They just haven't had the opportunity or the exposure to what it is that we doing over here at the Millionaire Morning Show that would allow for them to grow at the same rate as you. We got to continue to work. Every single person that sees this, every single person, that means that they're no longer going to have an excuse as to why they can't do what they're supposed to do in order to be successful. The reason that I live my life like an open book is because I want to be the representation and I want to be the example of what it is that you're supposed to do, not the person that's telling you to do it, the person that's a reflection of it. And then the words that I spew is only 10% of the conversation. Remember, you are now a reflection of me in the same way that I'm a reflection of you. So when I go outside, I'm a representation of you. When you go outside, you are now an extension and a representation of me and every single person in this chat. And every person in this chat has now a responsibility to be a better person than they were the day before. I'm not telling you to be perfect. I'm not telling you to be holier than thou. I'm not telling you to go out there and preach the gospel. I'm not telling you to tell somebody they need to fix their finances. But I'm telling you that you need to be a representation and a beacon of light for the person to see you and say, what is it about them? And why are they so much better than everybody else? And why are they so much so successful than everybody else? And why are they always positive when we want to be negative? And why is this person over there continuing to win despite the fact that all of us was born in the same circumstances? Oh, they think they better than us. That's what the first person is going to say. The second person is going to look over there and say, you know what? What you doing? What you got going on? And they're going to get a little bit more curious. It's not about going out there and saying it to people. It's living it. It's being it. It's being a reflection of it. It's living your life like an open book so that people can lean into that and say, you know what? I see it in you, and I got to figure out what it is that you got. That's what it's about. So now, every single day that you learn, every single day that we laugh and we get some insight and understanding, you now have a greater responsibility. This is the burden for you to carry. This is your cross to carry. And you're going to suffer for it. It's going to be some people that criticize you for having a difference of opinion or living your life a little bit differently or wanting to level up and wanting to do better for your children. You're now going to have a personal responsibility to being a better person than you was in last year or yesterday or last hour. And that is now your burden to carry because we are now an extension of each other. And we're going to pray for you and we're going to hold you down and we're going to continue to push each other. But you are better than the thing that you were before you came in here. Remember that. And don't subject yourself to the same stuff that you was yesteryear, still trying to fit in. You're not meant to fit in. You're meant to stick out, just like a sore thumb. And everybody going to pay attention to you. When I walk down the street and I got my vlogging camera out and I'm talking and stuff like that, and the people around me trying to figure it out, they not, some people say, well, I don't understand how he can do it. That don't make them nervous. No, it makes them nervous that they can't do what I do. And then they get curious about what it is that I'm doing and why I got so much confidence, which is why they then come up to me and ask me who I am, what I do, and how can I follow me too. Every person that sees me, most of the people that see me ask me and get curious and they say, hey, but they wait till all of their friends is gone and their friends go in the store and they sneak out and they say, hey, what's your name? What do you do? Because they secretly listening to the message. They first was embarrassed for me because they thought that I was crazy walking down the street, vlogging and talking into the camera. And then they the very same ones that say, hey, man, I'm the one that's seen you in the streets. I don't do it for the rest of the people that think that it's weird that I walk down the street talking into a camera. I do it for the person that get curious and come outside around after their friends and went in because they don't want to look weird. Then they say, hey, man, what's your name? What you doing? It ain't about the majority. It's about the minority. I have 100% confidence in what I do because I know my steps is guided and this is what my purpose is. And I'm going to continue to grow and I'm going to be rewarded accordingly because, seek ye first the kingdom of God and his righteousness and everything else will be added unto you. I'm not chasing it. It's going to come to me. You know what I'm saying? So I'm going to read the super chats and then we're going to move over into the next part of the show because this next part actually factors into some of what I was saying. I'm sorry, Latrell. I don't know why I got the hiccups. I ain't even eat nothing. Latrell said, I got your back. Here's a 2-ball. Thank you, Latrell. My dog, Chris J, says 500. Those are meetup numbers. That is true. If y'all ain't ever been to a meetup, you're going to definitely want to make sure you go to 1 or 2 this year. Shout out to my dog, John. He said, I'm tapping in. What up, John, on a Saturday? AL is in the building, says, I was thinking between Mirai, Microsoft project, or Confluence to plan and track my goals. Also, is there an app I can use effectively journal? My journal, let me answer the journal part first. My journal is YouTube. When I go back and I look at all of my life, my journal is YouTube. And one of the reasons I say that my journal is YouTube is because I want the people that come after me to then be able to look at my life and the transition that I've been making over the last few years and to say, this is what I learned from them because this is always going to be cemented and this is always going to be documented forever. So my journal is YouTube, all right? That's number one. Number two, it doesn't matter which one that you use. Anything that you use, just make sure it's more of a Kanban style board to where you can move cards around and you can more actively operate in an agile environment, meaning that you're continuously improving versus just looking at it from a project perspective, all right? So shout out to AL. That's a great question. I appreciate you. Also says, happy Founders Day, ladies of Dick Delta Sigma Theta. AL says, buying a prostitute and rolling the dice, their gender for the gender is wild. That's what they be getting over there in Thailand. Darcy Miller says, I got this 10 ball for you, big dog. Thank you, Darcy Miller. The Life of Scowney says, everyone take note. A millionaire left work early and instead of using PTO, came in on a Saturday to make up for them hours. Slow clap. Shout out to you, big dog. I appreciate you. We got to be the example. Andre Magruder says, I don't understand. The feds are not taking care of their responsibilities at the border, then complain when somebody else does. They're just being, listen, they order takers. They ordered high-paid order takers. Bernie's Road book tour. Bernie's Road book tour says the plan is called Agenda 2030, controlled by the UN. Think the United Nations is in on this? Probably. Gotta love Silverado, says AD, doing the morning show on a Saturday. Gotta get them hours in, 10,000 hours, baby. Desert Rose 76 says rats make havoc in the kitchen when a cat is a kitten. Unfortunately, Governor Abbott has to be the big cat. Thank you. Hugs from Florida. Shout out to Hugs from Florida, you Luciana. Yeah, I'm gonna call you Colombiana. Wealth Building Journey says by getting 1% better every year for a year, you'll see over 3,700% improvement by the end of the year. Always audit your network. Shout out to you. That is absolutely correct. Highly Offensive says, showing love. Been a minute since I tapped in. Happy New Year and infinite blessings to everyone. Shout out to you, Highly Offensive. Absolutely, positively. Make sure that y'all stay focused, man. Don't let these people get in the way of y'all progress. Y'all ready to get to the next segment of the show? All right, let's get to it. So, considering everything that was going on with the migrant crisis and the changes that's happening in our lives, there's been a lot of reports that's been coming across my desk and my emails and on my algorithm about people that vote blue moving into red states. This is happening huge over in Florida. And so I want to go over a video that was sent to me. I have not seen it. I have not rocked out with it yet. So I definitely want to review it. But this is a big thing. And people in Texas are saying, listen, don't turn our state into your state. Let's get into it.
Young Americans fleeing Democrat-run states. Gen Z folks left states like New Jersey, California, Illinois, and New York. Millennials are flocking too. Are we talking Gen Z people who are millennials? It's both. Okay. Millennials are flocking to states like Texas, Georgia, and Florida. Ricky Schlott is with me this morning. Why are Gen Z folks leaving? They don't pay taxes. What's going on?
Well, a lot of us do pay taxes, and we're starting to pay taxes, which
11
might
to
be
26-year-olds don't pay much in tax.
No. However, the older Gen Zers, I think, are the ones that are moving. 11-year-olds aren't picking up and U-hauling to the next state if they're living with their parents still. But I would say for young professionals, they actively vote against Republicans, but actually seem to like some of the benefits, which would be a lower cost of living, perhaps more safety, and crime concerns are less rampant than in blue states and blue cities. But I think most of all, it's the taxes and also the ability as a young person starting your career today, you can start somewhere else. You would traditionally go to a city because you might have better job opportunities, but now you can be remote.
I think it all comes back down to selfishness. It comes down to selfishness and it comes down to mindset. Mindset first. Let's attack the mindset aspect of it. The first part of it is that I'm going to be honest. I'm going to shoot you some bail. For all of y'all that continue to say Batman Orange and I can't believe it, but then y'all run over from California over to Texas, or you go from New York down to Florida or some crap like that, right? Or you go from Seattle over to Nashville and you still bring your voting habits with you. I have to shoot you some bail. Before I get on you, I got to shoot you some bail because I want this to be an understanding. I don't want this to be me holding you accountable without any context behind it. The understanding is this. Some of us come from spaces, because I've even admitted to you guys on this program that during Obama's first term, I voted for Obama. I voted for Obama. When Obama was voted in office in 2008, I was suffering. I was going through it. But then on top of that, I had come from a very, very conservative family that always voted blue based off of the idea that they were always sold that Republicans was for the rich and Democrats was for the poor. They didn't even evaluate the different candidates that was on a Democratic ticket. They just automatically voted straight down blue based off of what was taught to us. And so a lot of us adopt the same principles, mindset, lifestyle. I try to be empathetic to some of these people before I get on them because I understand that they're not telling me something that wasn't programmed into them. I'm trying to break into their matrix head so that they can understand that they need to do things a little bit differently because most of the ways that you live in is already based off of conservative principles. The separation of church and state, right? Less taxes, smaller government. All of these things are Republican values based off of a conservative perspective that you already live. But the thing that they then get that gets to them, which is basically programmed in them, is to be distracted by the perceived idea of racism, even though black people, if you want to just really be honest about it and do your research, were originally Republicans. Republicans were the ones that fought to free the slaves for whatever reason of why they got freed. It was Republicans that stood on that, and Democrats was actually the ones that were the racists. They were the ones that was continuing to try to enslave you, but somehow, some way, over a period of time, especially when you start to adopt the idea of feminism, breaking up your household, forcing you to tie yourself to the government through food stamps and social services and programs, you believed that, and you were reprogrammed over a period of time to actually believe that it's something that it's not. It's not true. It's absolutely not true. All you got to do is go back and do your research. That's why we got libraries. That's why we got the internet. You can even go through ChatGPT to really understand it. But my point is this. The reason why I'm shooting you a little bit of bail is because this is something that was given to you through your mama, your grandmama, your daddy, your simp daddy, and all of that other type of stuff. Your simp baby daddy and all of that. They programmed you to believe this. They programmed you to think this. It's not that you had this thought on your own. 99% of the things that we experience in life and the ways that we think is given to us based off of something that somebody taught us. Life experiences is the other 1% until you get a little bit older. That's why you start to see people that start to get resources and get more wisdom. They start to switch over from the Democratic Party over into the Republican Party. There's nothing wrong with the way that you used to vote. It's more or less something wrong with the fact that you don't continue to evolve, or you don't want to admit that you're evolving, and then you want to save somebody else from doing the same thing and having the same mindset as you. I'm not telling you that you got to vote one way or the other. I'm telling you that you're uninformed, and everything that you're thinking is based off of something that somebody gave to you, especially your mother.
It's a long-running trend, though, isn't it? And it's probably not going to stop in the near future.
Yeah, although I would say that such young people going to non-urban centers is pretty unique, just because you can, you don't have to pay exorbitant rent just to have the job opportunity when you can post up on Zoom from a red state and pay less taxes and be happier.
It's not a return to rural America, is it?
I think it's a return to smaller urban centers and not necessarily just New York and LA. And I have a lot of friends who would have otherwise come to New York, but were able to take jobs and live somewhere else, and the cost.
It's not that the party switched. It's the idea of black people thinking that their values were really democratic when in reality it was really conservative, or it was really liberal, but in reality we've always been conservative. The narrative has switched behind why you think you vote the way that you vote. The switching is in the context. That's why I'm adding this context into the conversation.
The cost of living is considerably different.
But you live in New York City.
I do indeed.
Okay.
I'm here. I'm trapped.
Okay, yeah, that's right. You have a new piece. I'm going to read it for you, read it for the audience. Bipartisan Congress wants to defund colleges over legacy admissions, and it's about time. Ricky wrote that, and she's with us this morning. You really don't like legacy admissions, do you?
I really don't like legacy
Why
admissions.
not? What's wrong?
It's true. Well, so I'm in favor of this Merit Act. It would tie federal funding to requiring that schools don't have legacy admissions, because I think that, especially in the wake of the affirmative action case in the Supreme Court, we should be worried about tacking towards meritocracy and going back to restoring faith in the fact that a diploma from an elite institution should mean that you don't have some sort of special interest of some immutable characteristic beyond your control. We should level the playing field, and I think a legacy should be able to be admitted, but they should be able to earn it without that status being known by an admissions officer.
The thing about people that move into blue state or move from blue states into red states, And the reason why a lot of people that are conservative usually say, hey, don't move here, is because they don't want you to bring your same voting habits, which you will. And that's why when you see a lot of people that move into a lot of these urban communities, let's take Houston, for example. Houston, in my opinion, is ground zero for the worst of America. I know we can say Chicago, but Chicago has always been Chicago. Chicago hasn't changed. We're just now starting to figure out how bad Chicago is because we have social media and we have the ability to be able to communicate and do research a lot quicker than we have been in years past. But Houston, in my opinion, is ground zero for what is wrong with America. Houston is the new Atlanta, and Houston has always been blue, but Texas is red, right? And a lot of people that live in Houston is not from Houston, in the same way that a lot of people that move down to Atlanta is not really from Atlanta. They are transplants. There are people that came there, ruined the community, and then now they moved over into Houston. And what you see over in Houston and a lot of the places that's over in Texas is people that transition from other places, whether they have money or they don't have money. You got people moving over from California, Michigan, New York, all over. A lot of people over in Houston are actually from New Orleans. You bet you didn't know that. People forgot all about the levees breaking and Katrina and all of this stuff, right? And people moved over to Houston that's not even from Houston, and now they just claim Houston, or they say, no, man, I'm from New Orleans. No, you're not from Houston, though. And you're not from Texas, but you stayed and you brought your voting patterns based off of the environment that people that were more conservative created a space for you to have more freedom to do what you wanted to do, and then you took it, and now you're trying to turn Texas into California. Listen, I wouldn't even doubt, if you don't have strong governors like Greg Abbott and stuff like that, I wouldn't doubt even for a second, not even for a second, that Texas would start having higher taxes. They will probably have a completely different perspective, all of that. Texas is just too big right now. And so right now, Texas is like its own city. It's too much opportunity still. It's not enough transplants there. But I wouldn't doubt in my mind, not even a little bit, that Texas is going to start looking more like California, especially considering that a lot of people from California is actually moving into Texas. That was part of what happened during the pandemic. But listen, if you're going to go somewhere, I don't even believe I know I believe in the freedom to do what you want to do, okay? I believe in the freedom to bust down who you want to bust down, all of that. But the one thing that I don't believe in, I believe that most people should spend more time trying to fix the area that they in based off of how they voted than trying to move over into somewhere else and ruin it and take your same voting patterns in the ways that you think over there. I never moved out of Detroit. I visit other places, but I was more focused. And again, you got to remember, Detroit was the first major city that really declared bankruptcy, and we was at the center in the 2008 crisis. Now that Detroit is doing significantly better and going well, I would rather spend my time trying to turn Michigan back to red and Detroit in the red and taking more conservative values and principles into my city and being an influence that way than trying to run down to somewhere else where they already got it together. I'd rather transition a place that I'm already in and spend my time focused on that than trying to run away from the thing that we created. I may not have created it by myself. I might not have even been a part of the creation of it. I could have been, I'm probably a lot more of a benefit than I am a hurt to my city. But at the same time, I'd rather spend my time in the city where I'm from and trying to change that than trying to run over to somewhere else. And this is just me personally. I'm not telling you what to do. I'd rather spend my time in my own city focused on that and pouring money and resources into where I'm from than in a place where I was born and raised, than a place where I can try to run into and turn it into the place that I'm running away from. But that's just my perspective. Let me read a couple more super chats and then we're going to move over into the next thing because I do want to get into the Keith Lee thing. Thank y'all for the super chats. AL hit me with 3. He says they changed their names from immigrants to migrants. No, asylum seekers too. Is there a possibility that their home countries have become or are becoming U.S. territories? I have no idea. Let me figure that out. Thank you, Aaron. He also says it's funny they call themselves a part of certain parties, but most of them have never voted in a primary to at least ensure their candidates are decent. 8% vote, less than 8% voter turnout rate for the last mayoral election in Houston. Less than 8% voter turnout rate for the last mayoral election in Houston. You are absolutely right, bro. 100%. Goes on to say the most dangerous thing to democracy is ignorance and lazy voters. We need a basic voter quiz on the candidates in order to be able to register. You know, that ain't going to happen because they too dependent on them in order to keep themselves in office. Zach says LBJ had you ninjas voting blue for years. What you mean had? Still voting blue. Let's get into Keith Lee, y'all. So Keith Lee is going viral again. And there's some other people that's going viral also. I actually ran into a guy at the airport. I guess they really criticizing him for his review of what was happening in another particular city or something like that. I don't know. But Keith Lee is going viral again. And I was seeing a lot of news reports of news stations reporting on what Keith Lee did or what was happening over in the Bay Area. But he basically stopped his Bay Area tour and he wouldn't review or release reviews on a lot of the different restaurants that he went to over in the Bay Area. But rather than sourcing it straight from the news and getting their opinion on this one, luckily we have the ability to get it straight out of Keith Lee's mouth. So he did a couple of TikToks that we're going to go over right now. And he's going to break down. I have not seen the TikToks at all, but he's going to break down exactly why he stopped his Bay Area tour. And I have a sneaking suspicion, and we're going to see if I'm right. I have this sneaking suspicion that it's going to largely be based off of the fact that the Bay Area is trash. And it also spilled over into his restaurants. The whole culture of the Bay has turned trash. Let's go ahead and get into it. Make sure y'all hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, turn on your notifications. Shout out to my people on Facebook. Shout out to my people on YouTube. Make sure you tap into the Patreon. Link is in the description as well as pinned to the top of the chat. Let's get to it, y'all.
Unfortunately, the Bay Area stop on the Keith Lee and family food tour is officially over prematurely, and we're gonna get straight into it. Let's talk about it. There are a few reasons why, as a family, we decided to end the food tour short. But before I get to that, I truly want to say from the bottom of my heart, I appreciate every single bit of love. The people of the Bay were absolutely amazing, and I'll never forget the hospitality and the love that y'all showed me. Reason number one, I truly don't believe the Bay is a place for tourists right now, and that's what I was, a tourist. The people in the Bay are just focused on surviving. That's the business owners, the locals. The amount of tents and living structures and burnt up cars that we saw people living in was shocking to say the least.
I knew it. I figured it. I figured that. And I have not seen this video ahead of time or these videos ahead of time. I actually had them made for me by my editor, and then we uploaded it, and I said that I was going to review this. When I started going through the different topics that I wanted to travel through, it was one of the things that was on my list. But that mindset, that survival mindset, is something that we used to experience in Detroit. And it's still a lot of people that still have that mindset. I mean, you got that mindset because it's hoods everywhere. But when an entire area becomes a hood that wasn't supposed to be it, that's disheartening because I know what it feels like to live in an area that majority of the people, including myself at the time, had a survivalist mindset. He said most of these, look at that sign right there. Beware of pickpockets. And he said, listen, the Bay is survival town. The amount of burnt up cars and tents, he said the Bay deserves Snake Plissken. For a person, where's Keith Lee from? Let me see something. Let me look up Keith Lee. For Keith Lee to be from Detroit, I didn't even realize he was from Detroit. Or at least I don't remember that he was from Detroit because I don't follow him on TikTok, I don't think. But I don't know. For somebody to not be from Detroit, or for somebody to be from Detroit and go to the, because he grew up and he's seen what the city went through, I'm guessing in 2008. For somebody to be from Detroit and to say, yo, over here is Zombieland is wild. Is wild. To be from Detroit and to say, yo, it's Zombieland over here, and the amount of homeless people and burnt up cars and people living in tents and the needles that's on the ground or whatever it is that he's talking about is a crazy, crazy concept.
Before we went, people was comparing it to Gotham City. Now, I might not agree, but I understand where it's coming from. But I can't harp on it enough that the people are amazing. It's just an environment. And as an outsider, I wish the city would step in. I don't know if they have. I don't know if they've been trying. But just from the outside looking in, it don't seem like it was much city interference. Reason number 2, and this is in no particular order. We went to a lot of restaurants. Popular restaurants, not popular restaurants, mom and pop shops. And this is the first city where I have over 6 videos that I don't feel comfortable with posting. Because nothing about my experience was constructive. And nothing that I said was constructive. I've always been big on honesty. I've always been big on transparency. But I've never been big on completely tearing down anybody. And I feel like those 6 videos only doing that. And I've always said, I'm absolutely blessed to do this, but it does take a lot of money. It does take a lot of resources to do. At the moment, everything comes out of pocket. So when we had that many restaurants that we couldn't do anything with, that was just another deciding factor. Number 3, and probably the most important, I had to go to the hospital because I had an allergic reaction to one of the meals I had. This restaurant in particular cooked a plethora of meats, including shellfish. My family specifically asked if they cooked it on the same grill. They said yes, but they would clean it. The second I ate it, I blew up like a balloon. I had to get some steroids and some allergy medicine, and it cleared right up. But it was a health concern nonetheless, and that was another reason why we decided to go home. I also think the Bay wasn't the target audience for what it is that we do. 90% of restaurants that the locals said had great food was already booming, and the people from the Bay are a loyal community. So if your food is good, the line gonna be out the door already. And then again, we went to some of those restaurants and I wasn't a huge fan. And even if I did like all of the food at the busy spots, that's never been my MO to just go to busy spots. So those are the reasons why we decided to cut it short. But nonetheless, some amazing.
He said even the restaurants that was booming that people was saying was awesome, that still wasn't really his cup of tea. So wait a minute. Every city that I've ever visited, including one of my favorite cities. Y'all know what my favorite slept-on city is? I love Biloxi, Mississippi. I love Biloxi. Biloxi, shout out to Greg Charlie. I'm going to read y'all super chat shortly. I know that it's easy for me to say, oh man, I love Miami and I love Dallas. That's my 1 and 2, but because Detroit is always going to be home for me. That's just the way we are. A lot of us from Detroit, we never really leave from Detroit. We always keep our home base in Detroit. So my number 1 and 2 city after that is usually Miami. That's the city that Rita likes the most. And Dallas. I've spent a lot of time in Dallas. But Biloxi, Mississippi, y'all are, that's my spot. Biloxi is a spot that you go to when everybody else is running over to Miami for spring break. When you grown, and you want that good weather and you want to be able to look out over the water, and then at the same time you living on the you hanging out at the Beau Rivage, and it's like a mini Vegas. Biloxi is like a mini Vegas, but it's like a regular city. It's like a regular city, but the casinos and the trains or the buses that go to all of the different spaces. And the people are so nice. And the food is so good. And they have some of the best restaurants that I've ever experienced in my entire life. And it's a not a military town. It's an Air Force town, right? And so you can get your little hood rat that's over in the Air Force and all of that and stuff like that. Biloxi, Mississippi is probably my favorite. And then it's a hop, skipping away, literally. It's less than an hour away to drive over to New Orleans. You can go and party in New Orleans because you don't want to stay in New Orleans overnight, trust me. You go to party over New Orleans, you can get back over to Biloxi, and you can shoot up to Jackson and shoot over to the different spaces, right? Biloxi is dope. Biloxi is my favorite city to visit outside of Dallas and Miami. But I do a lot of business in Dallas.
Things did happen while we were there. Chef Green's was one of the restaurants that I went to, and he had a news segment the day after we left. God is amazing. Mama T's also joined that category with a news segment the day after we left. God is amazing. And one of the places that we went that I didn't get a chance to post was a highlight of our trip. The name of it was Luxurious Cuisines. Customer service was absolutely amazing. And the food wasn't too far off of that. We went in as a family and we left for a $2,000 tip. So the trip itself wasn't all in vain. And again, I appreciate every single person that I met. I want to stress, it is not normal for us to go to restaurants, not like it, and not post it. Any other time we ran into the situation, I've always had some kind of constructiveness to say. This was just different. And again, I'm always going to be transparent. I'm always going to be honest. Thank you again to everybody in the Bay Area. We'll be headed to the next spot soon. God bless you. Have an amazing day. Y'all be safe. My statements about our experience in the Bay Area have been misconstrued, so let's talk about it. I got this mask on because my allergies are still flared up. Number 1, we didn't leave because of violence. Not at one point did we feel threatened or scared. We didn't get ran out of nowhere. I gave a list of reasons of why we left early, and one of those reasons is because I said I don't believe the Bay is fit for tourists at the moment.
That's a pretty big statement to say that the Bay is not fit for tourists at the moment. I see Wealth Building Journey said, what basis is over in Biloxi? I believe, here, I just looked it up. It says the Keesler Air Force Base. The Keesler Air Force Base is over in Biloxi. So that's what's over there. But it just sounded like he just a really good guy, and he didn't want to give no bad reviews, and that's one of the reasons why he stopped the tour over in the Bay. To say that the Bay is just completely not tourist ready, that make me want to actually go visit the Bay because I want to see how bad it is. You know me, I spent years documenting how bad it was when Detroit was really, really run down, and now we don't have any of those abandoned buildings anymore that I explored. So it's pretty interesting. But now I want to go, listen, I want to go to El Paso, I want to go to Chicago, and I want to go to the Bay. Those are some of the places that's at the top of my list. I was actually supposed to be at the Consumer Electronics Show in Vegas this week. Now I'm starting to look outside and deciding that I should have been there. But we dealing with all of this health concern stuff with my wife and stuff, so that's why I'm still here in Michigan.
I said that specifically based on the spots that we had went to and the areas that we were in. I don't think any of the spots that we personally went to were conducive of a 5 to 6 hour wait time, especially with people coming directly off the plane. And when I say people, I mean tourists. I don't think they were conducive of coming straight off the plane and going and waiting to these lines. As a tourist, I wouldn't wait outside 3 or 4 hours in any of those areas. Not to say people don't or people shouldn't. I just said, in my personal opinion, it didn't seem conducive. And I believe that message is synonymous with the locals because
Trap and Slay, all you got to do is look at my videos when I be walking downtown all the time. That's what it really looks like. That's what it really looks like. If you go to any of my videos when I'm walking downtown, that's what Detroit really looks like.
before we went, a lot of people were stressing the conditions of the Bay at the moment. News articles, locals, people that I spoke to on a daily basis. Number two, we went to a lot of cities. We didn't just go to Oakland and San Francisco. We went to 6 or 7 different cities. I didn't name those specific cities because there's only a few restaurants that were recommended from those cities. And if I named the specific city, people will be able to figure out what restaurant I went to and didn't enjoy the food, and they would go bully those specific restaurants, even off of just guessing. So I didn't want to put random restaurants at risk of being bullied and get negative reviews from people.
It's got to be very difficult being a huge... What Keith Lee is experiencing is growing pains. He's experiencing some really bad growing pains because it's basically he's gotten so big to where his opinion matters, and it could sway or help a business or kill a business, but he doesn't have thick enough skin to where he can just do what it is that he do without taking concern for who it is that he's affecting. And it's actually the characteristics of a good person, but not necessarily the characteristics of the best business person. Business, you got to be ruthless. I mean, in order to do your job, you got to be absolutely real and transparent. One of the people that really bothered me when I'll share that with you after I hear what else he got to say.
Who've never been to that restaurant. But yeah, we went to other spots that wasn't Oakland, wasn't San Francisco. We went to the Bay. We went to trucks, we went to brick and mortars, we went to Michelin star restaurants. We went to a lot of places. And I personally wasn't a fan of a lot of places that we went to. And I said in the previous video, it was to a point where I wasn't constructive. Now, if I don't like the food, or if I don't like the customer service, or I don't like the experience, and I can still be constructive, I will be, and I've always been that. I've always been transparent with that. But this is the first time where I feel like I didn't have that, so I didn't do it. Number 3, I'm not a food influencer or a content creator. I'm Keith. A lot of people are implying that I don't do enough research or I should have a food tour guide when I go to these cities. I'm a normal person, and our food tour has been guided for normal people. It hasn't been guided for people who can reach out to the #1 food influencer of each city or a celebrity in each city that could be a personal tour guide for them. I want you, my mom, my family, and whoever else don't got 15 million followers to have a good experience in these places. And I'm not going to tell you I'm having an amazing experience only based on the perks that I get with having 15 million followers.
But I want to be very clear. I'm not saying I'm not tapped in or I don't do my research and watch the biggest food influencers of each city. I do a lot of research. I watch a lot of videos. And as of late with the last 2 stops, it just so happened that I have reached out to some people. But these are people that I genuinely respect and people that I actually want to meet in real life. Can I improve? Absolutely. Is there more research to be done? Absolutely. But do I feel like I should have to have a tour guide or the biggest celebrity or the biggest food influencer of each city to have an enjoyable time? No.
This is the last point that I'll touch on. Right now, we are in the research stage of doing a food tour. We are in the very beginning of the food tour. It literally just started 6 months ago. We are using this time to polish it and refine what it is that we do. So if we are blessed enough to have a TV show, we can know what works for us and what don't work for us. So that way, when we do go to these networks, we are solid in our foundation. So I can still authentically be myself, just on a bigger platform. And past all of that, I always say I'm a vessel of God. I truly believe I'm doing what I'm supposed to do. And if you disagree with me and you don't like me, I fully get that. And I'm not mad at you. I'm really not. Again, the people in the Bay were amazing. I'm gonna say it again. It's unfortunate that my allergies flared up, but I never once looked at the entire trip to the Bay as a fail or a disappointment. And
I just got two final points. I mean, I think that he was able to communicate his thoughts authentically, right? But I just got two final points about Keith Lee. The first thing is that I know his ultimate goal is to get a TV show, food tour show, and I honestly believe that he's going to get it. Any network that's not throwing money at this guy in order to be a part of what they got going on based off of his own organic, self-made image is crazy. If I'm a network executive, I'm throwing money at him hand over fist, and I'm going to give him whatever it is that he wants in order to be productive. That's number one. Actually, I got 3 points because that's actually part of another point. But number two, which feeds into number one, is that I don't think that Keith Lee should be trying to get a network TV show. And this is just my own personal opinion. I believe that he should spend more time and he can make more money, and then he can also own the content that he creates forever by organically working on and putting himself on even more. You've already done the legwork. Why do you want to give a percentage of the profits just to be able to use their platform to a dying industry such as TV or a network TV? You've already done the work. Like, unless you want to just do some kind of a licensing agreement or a distribution agreement or something like that, then you got to figure that out for yourself. But why would you organically build up your following just to give your followers over to a major network? And it's a dying industry. I think that he can build the infrastructure around himself to monetize it better, and that he'd make way more money and continue to grow his platform that way. But in no way, shape, or form would I ever just look for a TV deal. Deals are done. A deal is the same thing as like a record contract. Man, I want a deal from a record label company. I don't need no deal. I don't need no advance money. I don't need nobody dictating when I can release. I may need distribution. I may need to tap into your audience to see if I can get an even bigger audience, but I don't even need to do that no more because I've grown my stuff organically. So I think that he's making a huge mistake by trying to get a TV network deal. And maybe he's trying to do it so he can put his family on. But no way, shape, or form would I ever try to do that. That, in my opinion, is the definition of selling out. Now, that's the first two things. The second main thing, or the third thing, because really that was like 1 and 1.5. The second main thing is I think that Keith Lee needs to have more of a business mindset when it comes to what he's going to do. I know he wants to help people. I know he always say his steps is ordered by God, but at some point, you're going to have a business mindset if you're going to be in this game, because it's going to be bad and as well as it's going to be good. And if you're going to do this, then you're going to have just as much energy towards the people that you help, or unless you're going to call a food tour like the all good, I'm a help, I'm only going to review good restaurants tour. You know what I'm saying? Other than that, there's no point in you even posting anything that's wrong or bad, because you're going to have thicker skin, understanding that everybody shouldn't be in business, or everybody don't deserve to be having a restaurant, or everybody don't have good service. And you just going to have to be objective about that, right? As long as you're not going out there with an axe to grind in order to try and ruin people, but you're just giving an honest opinion and an honest review. If that's the business that you in, then that's the business that you in. And so it's their responsibility to give a great review in the same way that any of these other reviewers. Just because you have a bigger platform and you have more influence doesn't mean that they're not supposed to do what they're supposed to do as far as, giving an honest review or giving great service and great food that goes along with it. That's just the name of the game. But yeah, so Keith Lee stops his Bay Area tour because of I guess a lack of restaurants, a lack of good food, a lack of good service, a lack of greatness over there, and nothing but homelessness and trash. I mean, we got to go ahead and bring the Bay to the front of the congregation, huh? All right, okay. Let me read a couple of the super chats, and then we're going to continue on with the show. A.R. Smitty is in the building, says, thanks for making my Saturday time, dog. No, thank you for tuning in. I appreciate you, big dog. Thank you. Hashtag CT in the building. Jamal Fowler says, happy Saturday, Anton. Be great. Peace. Shout out to you. Greg Charlie is in the building, says, it threw me off when Biden won Michigan. Don't even remind me of it. That's crazy. I live in the suburbs after you leave Detroit. This is Trump land. Facts. Patrick Troy, but you got to remember, Michigan is a big state. You got Kalamazoo, you got Flint, you got Grand Rapids, you got all of these places. Patrick Troy is in the building, says Snake Plissken. Love that movie. Which one, Escape from LA or Escape from New York? Escape from LA was, I think the Escape from LA. Well, when you look at it now, it's like the graphics and stuff is so funny, but the same premise still applies. That movie was way ahead of its time. All right, so let's get into a couple more things. Tonight on After Hours, I plan on reviewing and breaking down the whole Stephen A. versus Jason Whitlock thing. I want to go over some other stuff. I got some relationship videos that I want to review and stuff like that. But right now, one of the things that I did also see as a result of Stephen A. Smith going back and forth with Jason Whitlock, and I'm trying to reserve doing too much research before I actually watch the entirety of these videos in person or in a live stream on After Hours tonight. Either tonight or tomorrow night when I'm going to do After Hours. I'll let y'all know because I want some stability with the grid. You know what I'm saying? Shannon Sharp. Well, let me pull this up. Shannon Sharp actually responded or gave his opinion of Jason Whitlock based off of what Stephen A. Smith said about Jason Whitlock. And so I figured that I'd go ahead and review that because Shannon Sharp's perspective, in my opinion, was completely separate and different from, and Jason Whitlock responded, right? I believe he played it inside of his recent live stream that he did addressing Shannon Sharp. So I wanted to review that. Again, make sure y'all tap into the Patreon. Link is in the description as well as pinned to the top of the chat. And one of the things that I also want you guys to keep in mind when we going over this is, are there gatekeepers? Because I'm starting to see a whole 2024 is different a little bit than what I thought it was going to be. It's different because how often do I come to Biloxi? As much as I can, as much as I possibly can. 2024 is unfolding. And you know what it's showing me? It's showing me that every industry, it's not just us on social media. It's not just people fighting and being catty and stuff on social media. Every industry is the same. You know what it's like? High school. None of us actually grow up, or most people don't really grow up from high school. And so you're going to see these bickering and fighting and the Mean Girls Club and gatekeepers and Hollywood, Cat Williams, comedy, they all saying gatekeepers. It's the Mean Girls Club. Sports, it's Skip Bayless, Shannon Sharp, Stephen A. Smith, Chris Broussard, they all Mean Girls Club, right? The internet, every industry, social media, food reviewers, it seems like every single industry is just like high school. It's just like, even if you go into the plant, I see somebody says, yeah, my working at Walmart, my first job, it's the same way. Even if you go into the plant, it's just like high school. If you go into Amazons, the UPSs, any call center, it's the Mean Girls Club, it's the chick you want to bust down, it's the jock that take all of the phone calls really fast, that's probably on a fast track to becoming a supervisor. It's the same thing over and over. Yep, the Get Along Gang, over and over and over and over again. All right, so I want to play this really quickly. Certain segments in here, so I want to get straight to the part where he addresses Shannon Sharp. All right, here we go.
Rant and beef with me. I want to replay that clip of Shannon Sharp on his show.
Hold on, let me get this. Let me address this. He says, Birdman Fly Guy, this is an interactive show. Birdman Fly Guy says, you a gatekeeper yourself, Anton, because you're getting that Republican money to push their talking points, especially when it comes to black people. Who giving me Republican money? Where? Who donating to my campaign? And who am I signed to? What Republican money? As a matter of fact, I would even go so far as to say I went against the grain. I was the one that they outcasted. I was the one that listen. I stand on what I said, and I mean what I say. And I just talked to her. Was just texting with her the other day. I'm the one that defended the very thing that everybody was against. I went against everybody. They tried to cancel me for the women. They tried to cancel me for holding down Pearl when I went against every other single YouTuber. Some people turned their backs on me. I'm not gonna name them names because that's under the bridge. How am I a gatekeeper when I stood 10 toes down by myself? How am I a gatekeeper? Who am I gatekeeping? Who am I preventing from getting in? I'm trying to figure it out myself. How can I be a gatekeeper on YouTube when I don't have any power to keep anybody from getting inside of the gate? I stand on my own. Only people I need, or the only things I need, is God and my chasers and my people. That's all I need. I just tell it like I see it. Shout out to, well, I'm going to read the super chat shortly. Let me get into this whole thing.
Club Shay Shay or the nightcap talking about me and, you know, why he doesn't mess with me and how I can't do what he can do. Play the clip.
Oh,
Right.
I don't look. I don't mess with him. I don't mess with him. He knows I don't mess with him. He likes to bring my name. You know, Fox tried to feed him some information about this and that, and he threatened. I don't get into all that. I just look. I know who I am. I know what I am. Okay, y'all say all y'all little stuff because see the problem that he has with me. See, and this is what a lot of people have that are journalists. You see, I can sit at a desk on ESPN or I did it at Fox, and I can do what they do. They could never live in my world. They could never play pro sports. So now, not only could I play sports and I was damn good, I can sit across and I'm more entertaining. I'm more informative. I'm more educational than you. And see, those that...
Did somebody say who else I put on? Boy, I was just on a live stream yesterday on a smaller channel. I support so many smaller... Man, listen. I like entertaining this because I basically created a whole segment here on YouTube. It's 1,000 people that created channels and made a lot of money off of me. It's a lot of people that got bags as a result of me. It's a lot of people that you would have never known. You would have never even, as a matter of fact, y'all wouldn't even have known certain channels that I used to be a part of when I had already started getting popping and I already had a platform with over 60,000 subscribers way before I jumped on that platform and I used my platform in order to big them up. It's certain people that you wouldn't even be familiar with if it wasn't for me. It's a lot of people that is now eating good on this YouTube that give me my flowers, so I have no complaint whatsoever. They give me my flowers. They say, yo, Anton, you do this, you do that, you helped us, you gave us the game, and I still support them to this day.
Can do those that can't talk. You see, all they can do is talk. I could do. That irks them.
Yeah.
It irks them that somebody from rural South Georgia with a lisp that overcame that can do this. It bothered them.
Shout out to Jason Whitlock. He actually came on the platform. Yes, I may have a line or two to him, but that's irrelevant. I'm trying to be objective here, okay?
So Shannon Sharp's position is that I could never do what he do or what he does. I could never live in his world. We could never play professional sports. And he's accurate. But what he doesn't understand is I could never do what he did. And so now that Shannon Sharp and I are both in our 50s, what he did in his 20s and 30s, it's irrelevant. The things that he did in his 20s and 30s, I think me and Shannon are around the same age. And so when we were in our teenage years and 20s, I could do what Shannon Sharp did in his teenage years and 20s. I played Division I college football. He played at Savannah State. He was more talented than playing at Savannah State, but because his grades and learning ability were limited at that time, he could only get into Savannah State. And so back when we were younger, I did what Shannon Sharp did. Now, did I have as much football talent as Shannon Sharp? Absolutely not. I mean, I never got a sniff of the NFL. No one, I was never an NFL prospect. But neither is Shannon Sharp now. He's not. He's 50 some odd years old. He's got replaced hips. So it doesn't matter what.
Shannon Sharp got hip replacement surgery. Shannon Sharp got. Jeez. Yo, Jason Whitlock is the king of throwing shots at people. But I mean, I guess if you say something about him or you return shots about him, then you got to be prepared for it. All this is content creators going after content creators in the same way that content creators go after content creators on a smaller scale. That's all this is.
He used to do. I'm not jealous of him about what he could do, and you know, I could never do.
People saying he do got hip replacements. Jay Johnson, he got both of his hips replaced. So he did get hip replacements. 104 bands each.
Do what he did. He's right. I'm not jealous of that. He doesn't understand that he can never do what I do. And I'm not saying that to brag, but Shannon Sharp's never going to be a journalist, ever. He has no interest in being a journalist. He doesn't need to be a journalist because journalism's not valued in this space the way that it used to be. And so
I'm not attacking his hips. I'm reacting to what Jason Whitlock said. Jason Whitlock said that he had hip. I didn't know that before Jason said it. Why you always get mad at me because I'm listening to what somebody else says and I'm surprised at what they say? He said, yeah, Shannon had both his hips replaced. I thought that was funny because he was throwing a shot. They went off of Jason Whitlock and said that he was fat. And so now he said that Shannon got 2 hips replaced and now it's all of a sudden it's attack. Now look, if you are a content creator, then what you say can be held accountable and you can have the right to go back at somebody. I believe that there's rules of engagement. And I don't think that you talk about kids. I don't think you talk about somebody's spouse unless that spouse then comes on there and be a content creator with you, or whatever. I think you attack the talking point and you stay away from the personal so much as far as the things that surround a person. But if they called him Stephen A. Smith went and called him a fat bastard. I don't think that it's outside of the realm of possibility that this guy can then say, well, Shannon Sharp got both of his hips replaced.
Oh, it's could I do what Shannon Sharp does now? Absolutely. I don't want to do it.
Listen, Jason, I agree with a lot of your talking points. I'm going to say that is a cap. I'm going to say, without a doubt, I do not believe that Jason Whitlock can do what Shannon Sharp does. I don't believe it. Nope. Listen, it's a lot of things that I agree with Jason Whitlock on. But if I'm just going to absolutely, positively be real, and I have to be real, respectfully, no, you cannot do what Shannon Sharp is doing at this level. Shannon Sharp is literally the GOAT of sports right now. There is nobody even Stephen A. Smith is not even in the same category as Shannon Sharp. Shannon Sharp made Chad Ochocinco relevant on YouTube again. Now, I know that Chad was a part of a bunch of other shows and stuff, but as far as having his own platform and stuff like that, no, people don't even go on there for Chad. They go on there for Shannon Sharp. That's to be real. Shannon Sharp was the most coveted free agent. His interviews with Cat Williams got Willie D out there looking like a fool. I heard Willie D did a whole live stream where he was going off on people because they didn't like his. That wasn't Willie D's fault. That was Shannon Sharp doing such a good job interviewing Cat Williams. Shannon Sharp is beyond a doubt. I may not agree with everything that he says, but Shannon Sharp, with no reservation, I could say definitively is the top sports person in the world right now. There is nobody. Maybe you could say a Pat McAfee. But amongst your peers and people like that, there ain't nobody really messing with Shannon Sharp except for maybe Pat McAfee. That's it. There's no way. No, I do not believe that he can do what Shannon Sharp is doing. He could try, but I do not believe that he's even remotely in the same conversation. Nobody is in the same conversation with Shannon Sharp right now. Nobody.
I refuse. It's like the whole point of the Cat Williams. It's like
Bob Brown says only thing Shannon can do better is interview, and that's it. AD. No, that's not true. Shannon is better as a sports person, a debater, a person that goes back and forth. Listen, you see what happened to Undisputed after Shannon Sharp left? They replaced him with like 4 other guys, and they still ain't nobody even checking for what's happening over there with Skip Bayless right now. Nobody is checking for what's happening on Undisputed with Richard Sherman and all of those guys. Nobody is with Michael Irvin. They not. Stop, Fi Brown. Stop it, bro. I mean, listen, if we just going to be objective and we going to be real, it's levels to this. Shannon Sharp is at the top of his game, at the top of the top when it comes to content creation in that space. That's just a fact.
The whole point of the Cat Williams interview clearly flew over Shannon's head. And this, again, is why I say he can't do what I do. He can't think critically. He can be entertaining, and I've given him credit for that. He is entertaining.
Yeah.
He's worked on his broadcasting skills, and he's created an environment where other people who don't really think critically feel comfortable coming on his show and sharing their thoughts.
See, he throwing shots, and it's valid. He can say whatever shots he want to throw because they throwing them at him. He's saying other people that don't think critically feel comfortable going on Shannon Sharp's platform. Come on, Jason. Come on. It's sounding a little salty. If we gonna call you objective, because he objectively, and I think that I can't wait to break down the whole beef between him and Stephen A tonight. But if we gonna be objective, you can't say people that can't think critically are feeling comfortable coming on this platform. You got to stop the cap. Come on, we got to be real. That's not true.
I hats off to him. I've celebrated what he's doing and how he's transitioned, how much more I enjoy it than what he did at FS1. But I've made a choice because the things he's doing now, I think, are very easy. And Cat Williams went on Shannon Sharp's show and basically for 3 hours explained what it is Shannon Sharp does. And there are many people who picked up on the fact that Cat Williams was perhaps trolling or trying to send a bat signal to Shannon Sharp. Like, hey, bro, in order to get the support from the industry, you have to be willing to sell out. You have to be willing to bend over. You have to abandon your godly beliefs. Anybody can do that.
Nope. I'm not going for it. I don't listen. There's plenty of demons out here that's just full of the devil. They not rich. They not successful. Just because you sell out don't mean that you're gonna be successful. It's a whole lot of people that's no. I'm not going for it. On this one, objectively, I'm taking a different position. That's not true. Anybody can't do it because if anybody could, plenty of people would. People would sell their left nut to be over in some of these positions that a lot of these people that are successful in. Nope, they can't. Nope. It still take talent. It still take a combination of things in order for you to be successful. And I don't believe that even for a second. Nope.
And Cat Williams, again, this is my interpretation and other people's interpretation, was telling Shannon, we know what you did to get here. And hats off for the work you've done and put in. This is enjoyable. But Shannon, we've all...
Man, you need some cough drops, big dog.
Sat and watched.
Every time he cough, I'll be wanting to cover for him. Like, oh, shoot. It's a lot of that.
Football player. Run around the country. Promote stuff on his Instagram and social media feeds that his beef.
Listen, Connie, you're wrong. You're wrong. Connie says it was weird that Shannon pretended he didn't know the shady stuff going on in Hollywood when he lives there. I called Cap every time that he said that during. Look, let me tell you what makes Shannon Sharp a great interviewer and what a lot of people that interview don't understand. What I had to learn and how I'm evolving as a person that brings people on my platform and interview them is that your job as an interviewer is to recognize that you are not the center of attention. Your job as the interviewer is to navigate around the person that's talking in order to keep them talking about the things that you want them to talk about. Whatever it is that you want them to talk about and is relevant. And so it really doesn't matter how Shannon acted. What mattered was he got the best out of Cat Williams, which is why you've seen such a huge difference between what Cat Williams was like on Willie D's platform and what he was like on Shannon Sharp's platform. And Willie D just basically rode the wave of what Shannon Sharp had already created. Your job as an interviewer is to get the most out of them. So it doesn't matter what you do or what you pretend to do or whether you agree or disagree. I want them to keep talking. I want them to give all of their thoughts. And so if I have to do a little bit of pivoting or I have to do a little bit of this or say, man, you think so? Even if I believe it also, you are the center of attention. And so I had to learn that. I had to figure it out. I had to figure out, hey, when you interviewing, sometimes you got to pull back. Sometimes you got to talk a little bit more because they may not feel comfortable talking about certain subjects. The goal is to make them as comfortable as possible when they talking. So it don't have nothing to do with whether he pretended not to know. It's more or less about the fact that y'all don't really understand what the goal is of the interview. And it's the person, not you. So I disagree with that, Connie. I disagree.
PFF.
And that's why I say that Jason Whitlock believes this. Even when Jason Whitlock came on my platform, the fact that I was able to get him on my platform just by him observing what it was that I was saying about him at that particular time. And then when he came on the platform, a lot of people said, well, Anton, you didn't have that same energy for him when he came on, because I realized that when he came on the platform, unscripted, unplanned, it then wasn't about me. I wasn't trying to debate Jason Whitlock. I was trying to be a conversationalist to get as much as I possibly can about him or what his thought process was about what was relevant at the time out. I was willing to put myself down in order to exalt him because he was the reason why I was trying to get him on a platform in the first place. And listen, y'all got to understand. It's not about standing 10 toes down. Even in a Fleece interview, right? My job on a Fleece interview, don't you realize, think about it. Don't y'all realize that Fleece has not been relevant? I mean, I'm just going to keep it real. Fleece has not been relevant on any other platform since he was on my platform. I was the only platform where we did well over 1 million views with Fleece Johnson. If it was that easy and he's done other interviews, how come nobody else is checking? Nobody else, he did no numbers on any other platform, right? There is an art form to certain people. When I interview certain people and they come on our platform, sometimes our chemistry just hit and we just do it over and over and over and over again. You know, Vlad does really good interviews with Boosie. As much as I don't care for Vlad, Tony Yayo and Boosie does really well on Vlad. Because Vlad likes to insert himself into conversations where Boosie, it seems like, is not a conversationalist. Boosie is very reserved, and so he lets Vlad talk, but people are there for Boosie, but he's able to keep Boosie engaged enough to actually have a relevant conversation, whereas Boosie is more of the type of person, it seems like, where he just be high chilling and just giving his little opinion, and sometimes it's funny and sometimes it's not. So certain people work with certain platforms, but I think it's disingenuous for Jason Whitlock to think that he can do what Shannon Sharp does, but he's never really done it.
Out of the closet, gay, male stylist. And we've watched y'all sit courtside at NBA games. We've watched you walk around with some little poodle or puppy like Paris Hilton. We've seen all of that. And Cat Williams was trying to say, like, hey, bro, don't take the deal. He was trying to win over Shannon Sharp's head. And someone said on his show, and explain to everybody, here's what you need to do to be super successful in this industry. Here's what you need to do to get the backing of the major media companies, the major Hollywood industry. You have to be very flexible sexuality-wise. I don't know anything about Shannon Sharp's sexuality. I really don't. I tend to think he's heterosexual. I tend to think based off when I used to be friendly with him and what all I know, the kind of jokes, again, Shannon Sharp's famous joke, if you ever see me with a black woman, I'm holding her for the police. That was Shannon Sharp. Heterosexual like white girl.
Jason Whitlock is very, very strategic. Very strategic. And sometimes I agree with him and sometimes I don't. Jason Whitlock right here is throwing individual shots, which again, Shannon Sharp is a content creator also, and so he should be able to take it, and it's okay. But you got to be able to see it. And Jason Whitlock is very strategic with throwing individual shots in between his narrative that make it seem like, oh no, he's just saying whatever it is that the truth is. No, that had no relevance to what Shannon Sharp said. And so him bringing that out is actually a shot. It's actually a shot. And him making sure that he said, no, listen, and you know what? And I know that he's heterosexual, even though his favorite joke is, if you ever see me with a black girl, I'm holding her for the police. Jesus Christ. Oh, God. Jason knows what he's doing. He knows what he's doing. He know what he's doing. Yeah, you sly dog, you, Jason.
I'm not knocking it. I'm just explaining it. But I don't know where he's at in any of that. I just know the kind of signals he's letting off. And again, I'm not saying the guy needs to be anti-LGBTQ. I'm not saying that he has to be that. I'm not saying he can't have LGBTQ friends. But when your social media feed and part of you build into part of your public persona is that your best friend, your road dog, the guy you running around with, is an out-of-the-closet gay male stylist, you letting off signals to the puppet masters that I'm down for the play.
Come on, man. That's so cap. That's not true. That's not true. I respect a lot of people that's good at their jobs. I disagree with the idea of homosexuality based off of my own spiritual beliefs, right? But I also disagree with sleeping outside of your marriage in wedlock. They both sins to me. They're both sins. And so, but I still believe in people's humanity. So I'm not going to deny you the opportunity to be able to feed yourself and feed your family or anything like that, just because I don't necessarily agree with you based off of whatever it is that I stand for from a spiritual perspective, simply because nobody really is perfect on this earth. So come on, man. He reaching. I have never heard in my life personally anything about Shannon Sharp ever being zesty or sleeping with a man or anything like that. Come on, bro. Come on, man. Come on, Jason. Stop, bro. Stop it, man. Stop it, bro.
Take the deal. That's what Cat Williams was trying to subtly point out to you. Like, are you down for the deal? You got all the attention over here. Everybody, your show's going bonkers, and this interview now has 40 million views. Did you take the deal? And so, hold
on. You can't cough over the coffee or the tea or the drink or whatever, or the water or what you drink. Hold on, Jason. Stop. Hold on, fam. You can't just, you can't do that, bro. Respectfully, you can't just hit us with that.
It's going bonkers, and this interview now has 40 million views. Did you take the deal? And so,
in a minute, I'm gonna cut this segment short, y'all.
There's, as I said yesterday, but I just want to clear it up and say it, put a little more focus on it. There's nobody with a brain and any experience in the sports TV industry that isn't well aware there's nothing on sports television.
I'm the type of person that when people cough open in the open air like that, I'll be like, hey, man, you gonna cover your mouth? Honest to God. When people be walking by, we could be in the mall or something, they just be like, ah, or they just sneeze, yes, yeah. And that's in hey, man, what's wrong with you? I believe in shaming, public shame. Public shame. I believe in publicly shaming people that cough and sneeze with their mouth wide open and don't cover. You ain't even hit me with one of these, we got a problem, family. Because that should be reflex. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know how when you about to cough or sneeze, if people just do it openly, but oh no, it's just because I'm outside. No, that's because that's not what you used to doing. If you're not doing this, man, you got a problem, big dog.
From cracking jokes to doing serious interviews to putting together monologues to being entertaining, funny, whatever, that I can't do.
Connie, you can't do that. Plenty of NFL players are gay. It's not out of the question. When you hire and hang with an openly zesty dude, a suspect when you claim to be heterosexual. You can't do that. The one thing that we gotta stop doing is we gotta stop always trying to assume the negative. Even in society, it's supposed to be innocent until proven guilty. Unless somebody has facts, unless somebody has a fact that somebody is or isn't, you can't say, but you can't say that they ain't either. You can't do that. You cannot do that. If somebody say, hey, I'm heterosexual, or I don't like this, or I ain't never been this way, you can't say, well, because they got a stylist. Now, I don't agree with them hanging around with people either, but you can't just automatically assume that they that way just because you don't care for them or just because of that. You can't do that. You can't do that.
But there are certain things I will not do. I will not violate my values. I will not promote things I don't believe in. I will not send off bat signals like, I'm down for the play. I'm flexible.
Come on, Jason.
Won't do it, bro. I could do it, but I won't do it. Anybody, and again, as Cat Williams is explaining, everybody is doing.
All right, that's the end of that one. There's only so many coughs I can take personally. Shout out to Jason Whitlock. He knows that I actually rock with him on a lot of the different things that he talks about. But I don't agree with you on this one. I don't agree with him on this one. I think that every point that he made, he's reaching. He talking about I think that he's reaching on this one. I don't think it's necessary to respond to everybody. I think you got to be very strategic when you talk about certain things. I don't agree with what Jason Whitlock is saying right here, but that's just me being objective and saying what I really think instead of just agreeing with him because I rock with Jason Whitlock. Julius Jermaine is in the building, says, y'all just make sure that y'all win tomorrow because if y'all don't, you'll hear from me on Monday. Hey, we just happy to be in the playoffs. We ain't been in the playoffs in like 30 years or something. So shout out to my Detroit Lions. I hope your team is in the playoffs. Latrell says prayers goes out to Rita in her upcoming surgery. Shout out to y'all. I appreciate y'all for holding her down. A.K. Harrison says Shay Shay's portier means gatekeeper doorman. I don't know what that means. Shout out to the Life of Sconey in the building. Make sure y'all subscribe to that YouTube channel. Says, can I get an Anton Daniels interview? Absolutely. You just let me know when you're ready, big dog. Melvin Johnson says networking is key to being approachable and to being a cultural fit. Add that in there. Shout out to my dog, Mr. Lot says, if we can hear voices in your sneeze, we have some words to exchange. Yo, y'all got to start covering y'all mouth. I don't know where y'all got that from. Shout out to Chase Barnes says, pass him some Lysol and some hand sanitizer and some water and some soap and a whole shower. Y'all can't just be coughing and sneezing everywhere. Good God, get some tissue or something. Sheesh. Let me get into my last part of the show. All right, last part of the show. It's a couple that's making $227,000 a year, and I think they have like a $17,000 or a $19,000 a month budget. I've seen this on CNBC, and I wanted to break this down and review this in front of you guys for the first time. So make sure you hit a like for the YouTube algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications. Let's rock out, y'all.
One of the things that's really important to us is to make sure that we enjoy our lives today and not wait until we're 60 to enjoy our lives. Financial independence to us means being able to have the flexibility to make changes in our life, whether that means taking a sabbatical for 6 months or another career change just because we can and that's what we're interested in, and not having to worry about where the money is coming from.
My name is Jenna Balu. I'm 30 years old and I live in Chicago with my husband Neil. Together we earned $227,000 in 2023.
I don't know why everybody's still living in Chicago, but I feel you. Stay in Chicago. They said together they make 227. All right, let's see what this breaks down into.
Our income comes from a combination of my work in renewable energy and Neil's work in tech.
So she makes more than him. If she makes 125, see how my mental math worked that fast? And that means he make 102. If she makes 225, then that means he makes 102. And she makes more than him, but somehow, some way is making it work. All right. Oh, so they actually make way more than that. They only made that in 2022. Okay. So he make 158. He makes more than her. Okay, so they said that they make 227. So they made 227 in 2022. This year they're going to make, what she said, she made 120. So they're going to make 278. 278 is what they're going to make this year. That's pretty good.
Neil and I first met at Boston University when we were 18 years old, but we did not start dating until the following year when we were 19 years old.
Exact same story of me and my wife, except for we met in high school, but we didn't start dating until the college years. Exact same story. I'm about to play this, but this is the exact same story. Meet younger, and do not walk away. Build it together. Meet younger. I cannot say this and stress this enough. For y'all kids, tell them to stick with and don't feel like it's something out there. It's okay to not be experienced. It's okay to not go and slut it out. It's okay to build it together, shooting in the gym together, having each other's back, pushing each other, growing together. Meet younger, stay together. Do not continue to think that it's something better out here. You don't have to go and experience your whole 20s and then go and get married when you're 30 if you're a woman and all of that. Meet younger and marry your best friend, okay?
The rest is kind of history. We've been together ever since. Neil and I did not do a prenup before we got married, but we're planning to do a postnup. One of the reasons for this is I think we both had this misconception that a prenup or a postnup was only for if one person in the couple had like a huge difference in their assets versus the other, and typically that's been the male that has the large number of assets versus the female. But in my research and education, I actually found out that the power of a prenup or a postnup is actually in how the assets get split if you were to get divorced or someone dies. For us, it's really important to make sure that we are set up well if something like that were ever to occur.
Shout out to the ladies that's down for the prenup, and more importantly, shout out to the ladies that's down for the post-nuptial agreement. This is normal in other cultures. The only time that you see this happen is Western culture, but in other cultures, it is normal by default to get a prenuptial and then sometimes a post-nuptial agreement. Basically, it irons out and makes sure that there's a clear distinction by what's going to happen if anything was to ever happen. That's all a prenuptial agreement is. A lot of people have made it more of a selfish thing because they are in it for the wrong reasons. But a prenuptial or a postnuptial agreement is basically just a way for you to be able to be clear about what's going to happen if anything happens so that you can then focus more on the things that you actually enjoy about each other. That's all it is.
Neil and I both come from families of immigrants that have always really valued financial health and money management. One of the things that my dad always used to tell me was to not spend what you don't have. This was really ingrained in me in a young age, especially when he helped me to open up my first credit card in college. In my research in financial health and wellness, I came across Financial Independence Retire Early. The FIRE movement was something that we wanted to explore. I think for us, what we really value is more of the financial independence rather than the retire early. We'd love to achieve financial independence in about 10 to 12 years, so in our early 40s. Our estimate for our financial independence number as of today with our dog and no kids is about $2 to $2.5 million. But of course, that number can also change as our goals and decisions in life changes.
And it will. Once you get to your first million or your first couple million, even if you take a break, and I did take a break in 2019 a little bit, and I chilled out, and it's amazing how God's timing works in my life. Because when I retired in 2019, that was right before the pandemic. I had freedom. I wound up going and living in Miami for a while, and then I got into it. Like, I really, really ramped up, and I got a crazy offer. And you realize that once you hit a few million or whatever, that you got a whole lot of life to live, and it's only so much beach going that you can do, and you want to be productive, and you want to be, you get new goals. You know what I'm saying? So once they hit that couple million, which I don't doubt that they will, they'll change their goals. Most people do. Yeah, they already at 885,000.
I think to achieve this net worth had to be very meticulous in how we spend our money and track our money. I don't necessarily think sacrifices were made, and I think there's a lot of beauty in that. Like, you should be able to enjoy your life and experience all the things that you want to experience, but you can still have the investments go to work for you while you're enjoying and spending on the things that you love. So one of the things that really surprised me about Neil's spending habits was that he really only spent on the things that he genuinely loved and would make investments into those items.
All right, let me break this down. Transportation is $80, which means that either they already own cars or they use some combination of only one car and plus public transportation, or the fact that they may only own one car and they don't have any car note, but because they both are remote workers, they only have to pay $80 a month in transportation costs, which is probably just insurance. Gym membership, which obviously she's not using, but we're not going to go there. Insurance, I'm assuming that's associated with healthcare coverage or whatever that comes out of their paychecks. Phone, $1,300 a month. I have no idea why your phone bill is that high. Unless you financing a phone or whatever, I do not understand why a phone is $1,300 a month. Food, $1,400 a month between the two of them. Obviously, they're spending more time at the grocery store and cooking and eating out than they are going to the gym. Neither here nor there. Travel, $1,800 a month. I think that makes sense. Discretionary. I don't know why you're spending $3,100 a month on discretionary. What could you be spending $3,100 a month on discretionary? But because they make so much money, I don't think that it really matters. Rent and utilities, $3,500 a month. They probably got a dope apartment over in Chicago, so I'm with that. And savings and investments is $7,200 a month. It looks like a really dope budget. Basically, what this budget details outside of the gym and the food and the phone bill, what this budget basically shows you is that you can have your cake and eat it too. You can invest in your future. You can make smart decisions financially, but you can also enjoy life, which is, I guess, one of the reasons why they got discretionary. That's shopping, travel, or travel is separately. So basically, discretionary is about $5,000 a month, right? They set aside $5,000 a month to do what they want to do when they want to do it, and then the rest of it goes to lifestyle and then savings and investments. I don't have any problem with this budget. As long as they're not net worth negative, I have no problem with this budget whatsoever. This looks like a really, really good budget.
Whereas for me, I think
I'm still trying to understand that food thing. I mean, the phone thing.
Also at the time was understanding the importance of really spending on the things that you love and not really paying attention to spending money on the things that don't bring you joy and happiness. So I think that's something that Neil was able to bring to our relationship as we thought about how we wanted to create spending habits together. When Neil and I moved in together, we both started tracking our expenses together, also opened up a shared credit card for all of our household expenses, but we still kind of split all of our expenses 50-50. It really was.
What? You can be in a healthy relationship and be going 50-50? What? You can be with a woman that makes $120,000 a year and she's willing to go 50-50? What? They willing to split expenses with a shared credit card? Wow. So you telling me that this can work? I know plenty of women from other cultures and a couple from that are black women that do the same thing, and they are in a great space. They are in a great space. I know plenty of women that are in other cultures that have high-powered jobs that have no problem with splitting bills, going straight down the middle, and they're able to turn off their masculinity when they get home in order to make sure that they have a great household. They built a net worth of almost $900,000, and they're having no problem whatsoever. They both look really happy, net worth positive, and nobody is having an issue. But we still having these dudes simping out to y'all, telling y'all that listen, 50-50, I'll play 100%. Her money is hers, and my money goes our money. Listen, it can work. It works. It works. All right? Let's continue.
It wasn't until we got engaged in 2021 that we started to think about how do we want to combine our finances moving forward. We're going to get married. What does that look like? And so both of us went through kind of a financial health education period where we were trying to figure out what do we want our finances to do for us? What are our goals in life together? Where do we want our money to take us in the future? It's not until this year actually that we started working with a financial planner to help us realize those goals. One of the biggest categories of spending is usually your rent or mortgage. I think like the number on the internet right now is to spend like 30% of your income. And I think that number is frankly too high. I think we try to keep our rent or our housing expense between like 15 and 20% because that's a number we just feel more comfortable with. As of now, Neil and I are very comfortable renting because we like to have the flexibility to move wherever we want to live.
And this feeds into exactly what she was describing as far as lifestyle. Some people don't want to be tight. Most of the time, especially even if you put 20% down and you avoid PMI and you finance a house and you get it at 6 or 7% or whatever, when you take in the true cost of owning a home, unless you live in it for the next 10 to 15 years at least, you're not going to be net positive as far as the investment. You looking at a home as a long-term investment. You're not. You need to look at homes, depending on where you at in your financial lifestyle, as a shelter. That's it. It's shelter. It's a place to keep a roof over your head. It's a place to make you comfortable. And more importantly, it's supposed to feed into the lifestyle that you want. A lot of people are going to die empty. They're going to die wishing that they really lived and experienced life and enjoyed life. And that's not going to be determined by the fact that you just stayed out in the sticks and the boondocks. And because you wanted to continue to own a home and that was the only place that you could afford to get one at. You're going to have to tailor your lifestyle based off of your life goals and circumstances. And that's an exercise a lot of times that I do with people that I coach, but neither here nor there. Make sure y'all tap into the Patreon, link is in the description. But a lot of people don't truly understand that. You don't have to be relegated to any one place, and you're going to change and evolve even with your needs and your wants throughout your lifetime.
And not have to worry about the upkeep and management of a home. I think we'd be interested in owning a home perhaps as like a rental property or an investment piece, but as of now, we have no plans to purchase a home, but of course that could change as our life changes in the future. Outside of rent, our three biggest spending categories are groceries, dining, and travel. We absolutely love food. We're big foodies, and we love to travel and experience new cultures and really beautiful spots around the world. I think they're also
That's
the
dope.
expenses that bring us the most joy.
That's dope. Woo! She turned it into a flatback. She probably at one point had a fatty. Now she turned it into a flatback though. I don't need to see all of that. Anyway, so it looks like that they live in a blissful lifestyle. I don't see anything wrong with their budget. I like the fact that they have a prenup or a postnuptial agreement, or they get in a postnuptial agreement. I also like the fact that they allocate the majority of their monies over to investing, and then they're able to do what they want to do. So they have a healthy combination of both. I just don't understand that. Well, I'm assuming that the phone bill is that somebody must have bought a new phone. Maybe that's a part of the budget. But I don't understand that. Well, I'm not going to get into that. But it looks like that they got a really, really healthy budget, and so I rock with that. I don't have no problem with that. Listen, we did a whole 2-hour plus show today. I love you guys. I appreciate you. We got Stock Club tomorrow. That'll probably be around, I'm thinking 12 Eastern, somewhere between 12 and 3. Somewhere between 12 and 3 is when we're going to do Stop Club tomorrow. So make sure that if you're a part of the Patreon that you check for the posting of that sometime today or early this morning. And then I think I'm going to either do Fight Club tonight, not Fight Club, after hours. Either tonight or tomorrow night. I'm leaning more towards tonight, but you guys will find out about that. I might even post it on a story on Instagram or on Twitter. If you follow me on any of those platforms, the link to those is in the description also, all right? I love you guys. I appreciate you guys. Makeup show, awesome show. Didn't even expect even remotely half of these people to be tuned in today, but we getting it in. We taking care of business, all right? I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. Shout out to Trap and Slay. Said she off tomorrow. I know y'all off on Sundays and Mondays. Those are the days that y'all be off for what you do. I know what you got going on. I know a few toxic women that's in that industry. Shout out to Will CNA. Says, looks like I'm going to have to do a tutorial on infection control. Yeah, he was over there. So what's going on out here in these streets? All right, listen, y'all. I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. Y'all absolutely are the best audience in the world. Thank you. If you're not a part of the Patreon, tap in. Teach Hanley 30% off your first order, plus a free gift. MLK Day. What's MLK Day? Is that today? I heard that was Monday. Maybe it is today, and they celebrating it on Monday. We still going to be cooking up, and we going to be rocking. We don't take off days. I'll keep you guys in the loop as far as how we going to structure the shows, and if we're going to be doing a later live stream or something like that for Rita's surgery or what. But I'll let you guys know. I love you guys. I appreciate y'all. Shout out to Brittany B. Shout out to everybody in the chat. Make sure y'all stay focused. No fumble in the bag. I'm going to holler at y'all later. I need y'all to do me one more favor before we get up out of here. How many people know what the favor is that I need y'all to do before we get up out of here? Make sure you share this with your family and friends. We don't want to be successful by ourselves. I love you guys. I appreciate you. I'm about to take a nappy nap. I'm going to holler at y'all later. Peace.